Well, there are doubts about the future of the Air National Guard at Gowen Field as the Air Force proposes taking away Idaho's Air National Guard's A-10 jets.
That proposal would also move the entire Air National Guard operation from Boise to Mountain Home. Jacqueline Powell tells us why local leaders say that's a bad idea and their plan of attack for keeping the Air Guard right here in Boise.
The A-10, which has been flying at Gowen since the mid-90s, is on the chopping block for retirement because the Air Force says it doesn't serve its modern-day mission.
We know that the A-10's days are numbered. I mean, the plane came off the assembly line between 1978 or so and 1982, so it's coming up on about 35 years old. It's not a fifth-generation fighter, which can do both air-to-air missions against enemy aircraft and air-to-ground missions, close air support. So that's what they're looking for in the future.
The Air Force plans to replace A-10s with F-35s in the next few years. The difference, F-35s can fly both high altitude and low-to-the-ground missions. With this comes talk of shutting down Gowen's operations of the Air National Guard completely and moving its personnel to Mountain Home Air Force Base. That's what the Air Force is pitching in its budget proposal, but Idaho leaders say that's a bad move.
We have a tremendous facility here that supports the Air Force in our Air National Guard. And it would be a terrible mistake for us to lose that capacity.
That's why Senator Mike Crapo, along with Governor Otter, other congressmen, and Boise's mayor, are pleading for a closer look at Gowen's operation. They hope the Secretary of the Air Force will consider extending the life of the A-10 in Boise or bringing in a different aircraft like the F-35 to keep missions going at Gowen Field.
There's a lot of jobs at stake. There's a lot of economic development capital at stake. So we want to make sure that we do everything we can to keep that here.
Mayor Beater's spokesman Mike Journey says the Air National Guard at Gowen pumps more than $200 million into Boise's economy each year, and losing that would be a hard hit for the city.
Ultimately, what's important is that Gowen Field have a flying mission, a standalone flying mission. If it's not the A-10 or the F-35, then the mayor is very, very keen on making sure that the Air Force hears that we want a flying mission here.
Jacqueline Powell, KBOI News, Boise.
And state and local leaders are holding a press conference tomorrow morning to talk about what they discussed with the Air Force's secretary during her visit. It's important to note that the Air Force is not completely done with the A-10 yet. Some of those jets are based in Indiana and are being used in attacks against ISIS right now. So Idaho's Air National Guard says there is still a chance some of its A-10s could be used overseas.